And that's something like I have to remind myself as well, because I get into conversations with my family and all that, especially when new legislation comes into our country in Thailand here. Everyone's getting like, oh my God, this is so silly. Oh, this is so stupid. This is crazy. Why are they doing this? We get into that thing, and it's again, it's like hot air, it's hot air. I mean, somebody was saying that language and words become like a matter, right? It's like matter, and all it is just we're thinking we're trying to shift things. I don't know what we're thinking when we're just going on and on about how bad it is and how ridiculous it is and how crazy it is. So yeah, so yesterday, I mean, this started because of somebody's explaining to me what's happening in India. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing that. It's like, it's crazy stuff. It's, is it that many and how bad? And they said, yeah. And so I said, okay, time to call in, time to unite and bring everybody together from just hot air stuff and really come into ruach air, really make a difference with our talk, right? It's all talk and no action, but now this is like talk that brings action, right? So this is when our thoughts become our talk that becomes transformation. So essentially, this is where we're going with this. We want to, I think the thing that I got this morning when I was having to send a message to somebody, I said, no, it's time to rein in this ranting, raving, raging Goliath. He's out there just spewing all these words and all these threats, right? That's the Goliath that we're taking down. We need to just wake up and not be like, in fear, but be the David and rein him in and say, you know what? I'm going to get your head. I'm going to actually be cutting that head off. So that's the picture I'm seeing, like getting together as a body like that. This is the boldness we're walking into in our consciousness, to do something that makes a difference. I'm going to have to stop talking so much. Okay, so yeah, you want to, sorry, Judy, can you record this now? Because there's some.
Yes, I started recorded a while ago.
Okay, great. Okay.
As you started, all good.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Mike.
You can press your recording as well in case you wanted to.
No, it's okay. I don't want to get involved with the technical stuff. So, Mike, do you want to start, or do you want to give Kathleen
Yeah, Kathleen, if you want to share a testimony, that'd be great.
Sure. Hi. Hi, everybody. I think the key part is us just realizing who we are, that the power of the resurrected God is who we are. So I have a son. I'll share this quick testimony. I have a son who's been in a Greek Orthodox monastery for like almost 19 years. And I was devastated when he made that decision. I just felt like, oh. So all of these years, I was releasing negative energy. And I tried to convince him with scripture, and I'd pray with, oh God, that kind of prayer. Recently, I realized, what am I releasing to my son? So I changed my attitude, and I just released love and acceptance and approval. So I go to see him just, excuse me, a couple weeks after that, and he says to me, Mom, I found out something that's contrary to what I thought. Everything was right. Everything I thought was right here, I just found out everything's not as I thought it was. He goes, I don't belong here. I'm talking about 19 years, and I just changed. I changed what I was releasing from my heart, and it changed him. So that's really what we're doing. You know, we're just, we don't have to focus on the news or the issues. We just release who we are into the world.
Yeah, that that's so good, isn't it? Like, can you imagine the things that have been happening with us like all these years, and we feel so powerless, right? And we feel like even in some situations like victims, and like and we go through life like this, and then now it's like, oh my God, it's all within. And that's just awesome to come into such liberation, and being empowered, and knowing that we're equipped to live life. We're equipped to actually ride and actually rule and reign, in this kingdom. So that's really awesome, Kathleen. Thank you. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Debbie. So I think I know what you're desiring to do is really how do we take that royal rule and reign, which is really kingdom. It's the Greek word basileia. And says the Father's good pleasure is to give us this royal rule and reign. So he gave us his ability, literally. And it doesn't come from fighting anything. In fact, you brought up David. And if you look at it in the Hebrew, it literally says 5 smooth stones, where five is the Hebrew letter He, which is an open window, meaning you can choose whatever you desire to see with your inner eye, not your physical eyes, because the scriptures tell us to not take our eyes off the appearance and go with your single eye or the inner eye within, because the kingdom's within. And so that 5 smooth stones, smooth is always the spiritual man, like Esau and Jacob, where this is our flesh man. Esau is born first, and then the awareness or the awakening of who you really are, like Kathleen said, is, oh my gosh, I'm one with God, is what John says, is I'm one with him just like he is, and says the same glory you've given me, he's given us. And so we don't have a lesser glory, we have his glory, we have his weight. Literally it means kavot. We have his weightiness. And so smooth was always the spirit realm. And then stones, it's not literally a stone. It's, if you look at it in Hebrew, it's not a physical stone. It's a smooth stone. It's a spiritual stone. So it's not a warfare, how most people do it, because if you're warring against something, you're acknowledging you don't have something. And the kingdom is present tense, righteousness, peace, and joy. So if there's anything causing you lack of peace, it's because you got your eyes out here and you're not using the royal rule and reign he's given you, which is all internal. If you got your eyes outside, it says you're walking backwards. You're no longer a sheep, you're a goat, you're looking at your tail. You're looking at what's going on and trying to make life decisions on that, not realizing he's given you unlimitlessness in the spirit. And all of us have it. We're swimming in it. There's nothing outside of God, is what the scriptures tell us. It's literally this creative ability of God within us. And what people don't realize is our heart and minds are divine. We can choose to fashion or form whatever we want with that spirit. And it's as simple as this. We don't come against COVID. The more you come against it, the more it's going to increase. The more you come against, the more you oppose government regulations, the more you're going to get. And it's backwards how most Christians are taught, unfortunately. And stone literally is this Hebrew word eben, and it literally, ben is son, the seed of the Father. So and if you go look it up, it's your natural state, which is rest. In Hebrew, stone means your natural state, which is rest. So people have this picture of David slinging this Goliath with a slingshot because they don't understand what it means spiritually. And it says, stop your fighting, go within and rest in your natural state. That will bring rest to the external world. So the more you fight it, the more you're going to get it. So I would just encourage you not to fight. And here's how simple prayer is. Prayer is, and I'm not rookies at this. I've got I carry around stacks. If any of you guys have been with me, I'll show you my stacks of testimonies. Like, just they come in real time. Once people realize, like Kathleen said, who they are, your prayer life totally changes. Your results happen immediately. You're no longer floundering. You're a son of God. You're a child of God, literally. And so it's as simple as this. What do you want? In this case, like I said, I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Debbie, but to me, it would mean we want freedom, we want wholeness, we want health, we want vitality in these countries. Is that correct?
Yes, essentially.
Yeah, okay. So it has nothing to do with come against COVID or anything like that. In fact, if you would take your eyes off COVID, it would just go away. It wouldn't even exist, because this is where quantum really comes in, where Debbie's got a good grasp of this, is in the quantum world. I really come from a science background where this has intrigued me my whole life. We can show that when you pay attention to something, it appears. As soon as you take your attention off or your awareness off, where you're looking at something else, it literally disappears. Like, we can show that. We can show real time that something disappears literally when you take your eyes off it. Something physical literally disappears. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
So paying attention to COVID adds to it. It says, why don't go back to your natural state, the pillow, the seed within man is Eben, the stone, and it's rest. And so what you do, you simply, if any of you guys follow Dispenza or any of these guys, I'm really trying to show the Christian world that science is our friend, true science. It's all sharing the same message. And it only takes two things to change anything in your life. Change your health, your abundance, your anything. What do you want? Be clear on what the end state is. What do you want? In this case, we want health, we want abundance, we want wholeness, we want vitality. Now, how would you feel if you had it? The emotion, your heart and mind. It says, guard your heart and minds, because out of it flow the issues of life. There's no two other ways to prayer. Well, there is, which what most people do with prayer, which is a mess. Here's what I always tell people. If a single mom with stage 4 cancer came to you, do you know exactly what to do? Like Debbie said, you have a technology where you can reassure and go, there's no worries. I can reassure you everything's going to be okay. Can you do that? If not, you haven't been taught prayer correctly. So hopefully we can even and all it is instead of begging God, please heal this person, Lord, if it's your will, none of that. What do you want? Oh, you know what? I want to see her whole with her family. Wonderful. Create an image in your mind of seeing her whole and wonderful, and the joy you would feel as if she already had it. Now go to sleep. The kingdom parable, that's what it says. It says, trust what you've done in your imagination. We know not how. None of you can tell me how, when you plant a corn seed, how it multiplies corn. Yet you trust when you plant a corn seed, it works. And he goes, that's how the kingdom works. What they don't realize is by simply seeing it within in their mind's eye and feeling the joy of it already happening is the seed he's talking about. He goes, that's the kingdom. You don't have to worry about how. You go to sleep, but you will see the harvest of that. First the blade, then the ear, then the full corn. But you will see exactly what you just saw and felt. Now let it be. Isn't that simple?
Exactly. So the thing is, the seed produces the harvest after its own kind.
Yep.
So then the problem here is when people imagine the worst case scenario, right? When people are looking to see, oh my God, if this happens, this could happen. And then we start talking to other people, we start imagining, and we start framing everything according to what we're seeing as the worst case scenario. So in that case, we're actually planting seeds that are self-sabotaging. We're actually planting seeds that's going to be a harvest of exactly what you are thinking and the worst case scenario that you are imagining.
Yes. So this is how simple. Yeah, you're exactly right, Debbie. So this is how simple this is I would just encourage every one of you. I don't know if you want me to lead you through prayer or what we're doing exactly, since we didn't talk, but it would simply be this is, what do you desire to see in these countries? And if it's, I think we all have the same idea, is we want it to be people to be vibrant. We want them to display their true nature in Christ, which is limitlessness, which is boldness, which is abundance, which is joy, which is forgiving, all the attributes of Christ, right? So you create a picture in your mind and go, if that was true, like, so things come to my mind like this, and everybody can do it differently. But as I'm sitting here thinking about this, even as I'm talking, I get this image, just this is how my mind works, and yours can work however it wants. It really doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way. But to me, it's this, is I see some of you going, you know, we did that prayer meeting, and miraculously, almost to the day, everything started to turn around, where you're such in awe and joy. So that's what I picture. Now, all of you guys, whatever that joy looks like, of the country turning around, of people's health turning around, of people's freedom being freed up by governments, that's how I do it. I see that joy of going, I don't know what you guys did, but it blew my mind how fast it works. I can get excited about that. I feel joy. And I just spend some time in that. I spend some time imagining that in my mind. And then I go to sleep.
Yeah,
And the seed knows exactly what to do, right?
Actually, okay, my issue is to be mask free, right? But this morning I was just lying in bed and the fan was on me and I was just breathing in and I was just thinking, wow, this is what I want. I want to be, this is what I want. So I want to feel this air coming through my nostrils. I want to be able to breathe freely. And so this is my wanting, and this is the feeling, and this is the emotion that gets to it, because feeling is very much part of it, right, Mike?
You know, for so long, the Christian world that says, you know, your emotions don't count. I would say it's the 100% thing that counts.
Mm-hmm.
It matters a lot, guys. And 100%. So we all know when we feel bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that really mean? We've got our attention on external things, and how does it make us feel, versus, you know what? Like in Debbie, like you're just sharing, if you just see yourself enjoying fresh air, and that you can feel in your mind's eye, you can feel the breeze brushing on your face and go, gosh, it feels so awesome to be free. It feels so great to feel the sunshine on my face and the wind on my face. If that's all you focus on and not worry about mass anything, the fastest way for that to happen to you will happen, and the best way. So now I'm not trying to come against mass or anything else. I'm trying to just feel what I desire, and that's the seed that it'll return after its kind. So however that's supposed to happen, it'll happen the fastest way if that's all I focus on is my end desire versus how am I going to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I could jump in and add that.
Hey, my friend.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, we don't feel bad for you at all.
No, it's lovely. I mean,
enjoying it. I mean, Alexandra, we're just so privileged to have you here, because your testimony, I think I have repeated your testimony probably quite a few times. So,
oh, wow, that's awesome.
At some point, I'd like you to just jump in with a short thing about what happened when you didn't have a job and when you got your job. If I don't know.
Sure. Well, I all of that sort of connected to the point I wanted to make about emotion being really the essential ingredient, because I think if any of us think about something that we want, and why we want it, it's the feeling that we expect to have in the having of that thing. That's why we want whatever it is we want, because of the feeling we believe that we will have when we have that thing. So if we can just remove the thing and focus on the feeling, we are unlimiting ourselves, because sometimes the thing is limiting. Because actually, if my feeling goal is joy and bliss, perhaps the idea that I have isn't as joyful and blissful as things could possibly be. So instead of focusing on the thing, I focus on the feeling. And that's actually how all of this started with my work. When Mike poignantly asked me, what do I want? And I went through a whole list of things. And then I got down to feelings, feeling valued, feeling abundant, feeling freedom to practice my craft. And then a job
Just a
came to me
minute,
that I
just-
didn't even know existed,
Yeah,
you
just a
know?
minute.
So
Just a minute, Alexandra. There's a lot of noise. Judy, can you help us mute everybody while she's speaking? Okay, great. Okay, Alexandra, you can unmute yourself and then continue.
yes,
Just give us a
sure.
real practical end as to what was the thing and what was the feeling.
Right.
Then we
Well, what it was I was not enjoying the feeling that I was having in my professional life. I enjoy my profession, but at that particular stage, I had made a decision to go into a different area of it, and it was not proving wise, although I don't live in that place anymore because I know everything is purposeful. However, the purpose of me being there perhaps was for me to really think about, okay, if this stuff works, if quantum physics is real, if E equals MC squared is real, if my thoughts are vibrations, and all of that is real, this is the time for me to test it. And I went on Mike's question and I spent a month in meditation every day thinking about what do I want. And over the course of that month, all the things disappeared until it got down to the feelings, the feeling of being really valued and really well compensated and having more freedom, the feeling of being free. And then when this job came to me, I could never have imagined the job. So if I had focused on a thing or a title, I would have been limiting myself because this job isn't anything that you think really exists until you get offered it. So I went through the process of getting the job, and then that was about a year and 5 months ago. And here's another great example of how emotion is the key. As I was experiencing the job and the joy of it and focusing on the joy, was also recognizing when contrast was presented to me, the things that would make me not feel joyful. And I started to see the value of contrast as a way for me to navigate my life, to stay in a joyful path. And one of those things was I was not spending enough time with my family. As wonderful as the traveling was, everything was so beautiful and glorious. This was a contrast in my life. And so I just started imagining that I didn't have to have that say goodbye feeling all the time, that we would feel like we can't see each other whenever we want, my husband and I. And so that just really started happening in the past, I would say, month. And I had a meeting with my boss yesterday and told him that I would like him to increase my salary to hire so that I can hire an assistant. And that person's going to be my husband. So he's going to be now coming with me.
Oh,
So, you know, it's just, I don't know what to say, but it's awesome.
I know what to say. That's like bliss.
It is. It's
I don't
wonderful.
know. I mean, it's maybe you don't want to give details here and all that. I mean, already what you got, can I just share a real short thing? Like,
Sure, of course, please.
what Alexandra has is like a dream job, right? I mean, coming from a place where she wanted a job, and then when she was asked what does she want, I mean, here she goes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I want a job that is, I'll only work, this many
Yeah,
hours.
I work 4 hours a day and I have 16 weeks vacation a year.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so here we go. So here she is. I share your
More
testimony.
salary than ever. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the highest salary ever. And then on top of that, it's like, yeah, you get to travel business class. And
To beautiful locations all over the world.
yeah, and then on top of that, you also had a want, was that you wanted to be in a beach kind of a location or something.
Yes.
Imagine this person just out of nowhere, just being asked, what do you want? What do you want? Okay, number one, I want to have a very good salary. Number two, I want to have very few working hours. And then number three, but I also want to travel. I want 16 weeks and paid travel and business class. I mean, this is getting crazy. And now on top of that, it's like, yeah, you know, not just me, but I want my husband too. I mean,
Yeah, yes.
that's
Honestly, Debbie, I have to say though, I didn't think about any of those details initially though. Initially, I just was saying I wasn't even talking about hours, or I was being much more general. I was being bigger about it. I want to feel valued. I want to have the freedom to paint, to read, to write, to walk on the beach. I want to feel that people appreciate my unique way of teaching. Like I wasn't really specific initially, and I only get specific when it comes to things like business class tickets. But for the most part, I focus on the bigger feeling. Like even with my husband, I didn't meditate that I wanted my husband to be with me per se. I didn't know how it would unfold. I just meditated on us being able to spend more time together and to not have to say goodbye so often, to not feel that heartache. So I feel like if we focus on that feeling and we trust that our inner being, our God is capable of thinking of things way more awesome than we can, then I just think the feeling is what gets us there, and then it blows our mind. My daughter really quick had an example about this. She asked me, 2 jobs I want, which one should I meditate on? And I said, don't meditate on what job you want, meditate on how you want to feel when you're at work. And lo and behold, she was offered a 3rd job that exceeded her expectations, right? So because she focused on, she wants to work remotely and travel. And so that job presented itself to her, but she was before thinking, I have to think of the thing or the job that I want and put my mind power on it. But really it's, how do you want to feel? It's really the secret, really the secret. Yeah.
oh my God, you pretty much helped us now to hone in and to really focus on what matters. I mean, I probably didn't get it till now because you've really made the point, you know, of the focus. And I mean, I too, I've kind of like, I think made the mistake of thinking, okay, it's got to be the vision board. It's got to be like what I really want. But I'm realizing that now my vision board is taking a different turn. I'm going to be putting out feelings, you know, of
Yeah.
of
Freedom, abundance, right? Joy.
You've made it so
Yeah.
much easier. I don't have to go and Google images of the house I want and
But that works.
phone I
You know,
want.
Debbie, that works. There's,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe
that works. It is still, your thoughts are creating matter. So that works. I just think that sometimes we limit ourselves by focusing on a thing instead of
Right,
the
right.
feeling. It's really all. But I agree that being raised in religion, I think when I started to learn this idea of following the feeling, of calibrating towards what feels good, the idea of being led in the spirit. But before I thought about it, except if I felt like doing something I thought was perceived as bad, and then I would have guilt and condemnation. So then I didn't judge I judged my desires all the time as inauthentic or whatever. And now I never do that. I never do that. If I feel like doing something, I always do it. I really try to calibrate towards whatever feels good. Even in my mind, if a thought doesn't feel good, I just keep developing strategies to turn it off, because I know that the best thing I can do for myself, for the world, for countries who are suffering, is to be the most positive, pure vibration of my source, my love, my God that I can be. So if I'm thinking anything negative, I'm not that automatically. So that's just my goal, is to always be in that place mentally, joyful, happy, blissful. And when I'm not, I'm like, okay, what is the purpose of this message? It's teaching me to navigate around this, over it, through it, under it. I don't know, because I cross all of those bridges when I come to them, but I am definitely tuning in to the calibration of the thought and feeling that I enjoy. And God has not disappointed me once yet. So it just keeps getting better. And that's the other thing that I think is so awesome is it does keep getting better. It can't actually really decrease, even if you sometimes go into what would maybe be considered like a depression, or you feel like you're out of sync for a while. It's an old conditioned way of thinking to believe that there's some major repercussion for that, because you're so much more powerful than that to turn that off and turn it around and be vibrating positively. And that vibration does not have to manifest in your life. It's people just get, we're so much more powerful than we realize. We're so much more powerful, right? So yeah, feel good. That's my advice to everyone. Feel good, yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, if you look at the chat, Alexandra, there are just so many people that have been
It
thrilled.
might be above my technology level, Debbie, so I'm not sure. I am not Zoom proficient. One of the downsides, if there is such a thing, to not being a regular teacher anymore is I did not have to keep up with the technology thing. But I will definitely look at them. I'm glad to know people are responding well. We are all God. When we hear the truth, it inspires and resonates with us. It is not me. I'm only just letting God talk, and the God inside of everybody in this group that's hearing this recognizes that voice, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's just-
truly, it is discovering Christ in me, through me, as me, the hope of glory.
Yeah.
Glory, what is it but goodness, right?
yeah.
Seriously, if we're emanating such goodness, then like mirror images, right? Everyone around us, there's mirror images. So as we are emanating this, it's like we're going to affect other people, and hopefully it's going to go viral. Now that is what we want to go viral. That's the contagion. That's the contagion that we want. That's the only kind of virus that we want is the feel good. So if we
Absolutely.
if we can, out of this meeting, if everyone on this meeting is going to go out of this meeting with a feel-good virus, I think we're good.
Well
what do you
said,
think?
well
What
said,
do you think,
yes.
Mike?
I think mute
we should-
myself. Yeah,
Yeah. I
Alexandra,
love to think
beautiful.
about Joe Dispenza's research about the 3 feet of vibrational energy that they have measured off of people when they get their heart and mind aligned. And I just love to think about that when I'm going about my day, that when my heart and mind are aligned, there's literally 6 feet of positive energy just like radiating off of me. So it's not possible for that to not have an impact everywhere I go, right? So I just like to visualize that. I think it's super cool. I feel like a superhero when I'm walking around just thinking about the energy, positive energy vibrating off of me and changing people's lives and impacting their own energy. And yeah, probably doing way more than any of us is really aware, but thankfully science is starting to catch up. Oh God, I can't hear you. I'm
It's a
sorry,
big-
Debbie. I think it's maybe me. Nope, I think.
No, you're there, Alexandra. You're there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like it's so much like we're uncovering the light being that we are.
Mhm.
We've got like those of us who are with on wildlife, we've just been listening to stuff about the veil of flesh, and we have this light being, and then we have this veil of flesh that kind of keeps us from really understanding that we are light and we're emanating, we're getting out of it, right? We're projecting it out. And that's how valuable this feel-good message is, that the only virus that needs to come out of us is the feel-good virus, right? So
Right, and it makes us magnets too. I have noticed magnets for like-mindedness, for people who who are less resistant to God expressing himself through them, I should say. And those people start coming into your life more when you, as I mean, for me, I know as I become more aware and accepting of my coexistence with God and my co-creative power, people come into my life that are, it's, the purpose is so much more visible, easy to identify. The feeling is so much more alive and sure. There's so much less uncertainty than there was when I was first trying to navigate all this. Is this my personal desire or is it God's desire? Like, I just don't have any confusion anymore.
Yes, that
All
that
one,
is
all
that
one.
is freedom. That is freedom,
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
because we
truly.
stop thinking like, is what I'm saying, is that right theology? Like, am I leading
Yeah, yeah,
astray? Oh my God. I mean, like, what if I'm just, you know, like forget all that, you know, and it's like we're talking about rubber hits the road stuff. You know, we're going to be sharing with people. I think like what Mike brought out in the very beginning for me was so transforming in my mind was, look, if a 5-year-old, if a child can't get what you're saying, you know, and he can't apply it, you know, then what is it? What good is it? I mean, if he falls off the swing in the playground and he can't immediately kind of just see himself, you know, whole, get up, you know, shake the dust and like go on playing, then yeah, I mean, that's why, like, I mean, I don't know, when was it we heard some testimonies of kids, right, who've got a hold of this, who've got a hold of this message, and they're like walking this out. I forget the testimony, but it was just awesome. I think it was Marie's daughter, right? One testimony where she was sharing, and that's the thing, you know. If we cannot bring whatever theology down to kids and go, hey, you know what, you're co-creator with God and this doesn't have to happen, right? Okay,
yeah.
so
Mhm.
thank you so much. That was really, 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 really something, right? I guess if unless there's anything else, Mike, do you you did cover a little bit of scripture, but do you want, I don't know if you have anything to add to, so that we don't sound new agey. You know, I wonder if there's something to do with like the emotion part, the feeling and the stuff that comes to mind that you want to share.
Yeah, well,
Otherwise, we'll just go into to praying.
yeah. So I think what Alexandra said is beautiful. Um, and it would be interesting. I think Alexandra, you're saying the same thing, that so many people worry about, is this my desire or God's desire? And my answer is yes.
Yeah.
They're one and the same. Psalm 37 says, I will give you your desires of your heart. So all you need to do, the fact that we're even here, is we desire life. We desire, our natural state is life. Our natural state is joy. Our natural state is, think on these things that are lovely, things that are pure. If there's any virtue, think on these things, right? And so Psalm 37:4 literally says exactly what Alexandra's saying. I will give you the desires of your heart. So if you have a desire for expression of life, which you all do here for these countries, and for people to live in joy and total freedom, where they're not worried about some bug outside of them is going to somehow contaminate the glory of God in them, is just asinine. Sorry. Right? And then the Christian teaching that if you're even fighting a virus, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? Like, it's nothingness, right? But I see people, like, unfortunately, a lot of you guys get some stuff from the US and they're like, I rebuke this virus. No, you're going to get more of it, you knucklehead. Stop. It's no comparison to what like Alexandra's sharing. Like the minute you are in joy and pleasantness and virtue, it swallows up anything that could ever be there without any fight of your own. It's gone. It literally is gone. So that whole desire, like Alexandra said, what are my desires? Like she goes, I want to feel valued. I want to feel free. I want to feel like I have all this beautiful time with my family. That's a desire God placed there. All we needed to go is go, yes, Lord, I receive it for free. Thank you. It's so glad that you gave that to me. And not try to figure it out. Like she said, is he'll give you a better way. He'll give you a better way. So like you're talking about testimonies, you know, it's really interesting. It just made me think of this is, so unfortunately my kids have grown up in my family where somebody wrote on here, it said, they should pay me a lot of money to be me. I go, I've done that for 21 years, guys. I haven't had a job for 21 years. So I literally did, people like, what do you do? I go, I'm trying to tell you, but you won't listen. Right? I go, I'm trying to tell you. Alexandra picked it up. She's like, I got it. I got it. Just be. I am. I am. The name that is eternal forever is I am. And that's who you be, who I am. It's present tense. Like, so if you're feeling like she said, if I'm feeling that joy, that value, life will just naturally happen in the most abundant way for you. You don't have to figure it out. So we don't have to fight COVID. We don't have to do any of that. We just see joy. We see love. We see all these people walking in their true identity, full of just abundance and like this, like you were saying, that aura of Christ in them coming out where fear actually contracts, and you can see that energy around them contract. Whereas when they're thinking on Philippians 4, things that are lovely, pure, joyful. So here's what's cool is, like she was saying is, oh, I would love that beautiful house. It does work, but you're probably going to limit yourself. So all you need to do is go, what would I feel if I had that house and there's family members around, there's kids around, there's people out of town coming in, and you're just hosting them with beautiful meals and a glass of wine and whatever you do, just how good would that feel? He'll give you a better one than you got on your wall. He'll give you a bigger one, better one.
Right.
So my daughter, unfortunately, my kids have grown up in my family. so they don't want to do anything traditional. They're like, well, why would I go to school, Dad? You know, like the people that went to school work for you. I go, I know. So here's how cool it is, like how real it is. So my daughter, Angelique, I was like, so how do you want to live? She goes, I want to live in this penthouse, and I want to do this, and I want to do this stuff, and I want to do all this. I'm like, all right. Can you feel the emotion of you enjoying all those things? She goes, yes. Out of the blue, a family friend calls up and says, I want to teach Angelique something. Now, this is just an example. She goes, I'm making $3,000 a day on this online business. I want to teach Angelique. Pretty good, right?
Mm.
$90,000 a month. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's how you do it. So in this whole case, it's just, we're not coming against everything. We're not going, where are you, God? It's like he's expressing himself through you. You and he are one. The fact that you have a desire to feel life, to feel abundance, to feel all these things for these countries is just proof that that's already real and available. And what we do with that spirit going through us is we just shape it and bend it into those things. So we go, thank you, Father, there's life. Thank you, Father, there's overwhelming abundance. Thank you, Father, there's overwhelming freedom in these countries like they've never seen. Thank you, Father, that people are waking up to who they've always been, like they've never seen. And life is flowing through them and affecting everyone and everything around them. And it doesn't take many of us, guys. It takes this little group right here. And that's it. Is when you go to sleep tonight, you feel how good it would feel to go, that goofy little prayer meeting changed the whole country around. How good would that make you guys feel?
Amen. I mean,
That's it. That's it.
Amen. So
life
good.
changing. Because a lot of times it's not just the COVID, right? We're thinking about the Caesars, you know, we're thinking about the rulers, the authorities, and we're thinking about.
Did I give you a scripture on that one?
Yes, please.
Okay, because everybody's going, the government's on whose shoulders? And I would just ask you guys grew up in church, whose shoulders? It doesn't say Jesus. You've been taught that, but it doesn't say that.
Christ.
Uh-oh. He says, the Ark of the Covenant, guys, the tabernacle where God meets man, is carried on 2 wooden poles on the shoulders of men. Between the 2 cherubim. When it says, you'll realize the government's on your shoulders. And the New Testament revelation is, it's the Father's good pleasure to give every one of you his royal rule and reign, which there's no other word than government for that. He goes, You think it's the external government? Are you kidding me? Why are you giving them any power? The government's on your shoulders. Jesus is not out there somewhere, guys. It's clear. Where is he? He's in and through and withholds all things. He's in and through you. He's going, what are you going to do with me? I've given you my role and rule and reign. Why don't you choose to see things beautiful? Why don't you choose to see that government ruler who you despise as yourself? Because the brother is yourself. Why don't you see him going, I'm so grateful that God's given me this person in my life to take care of the physics of this, the civics of this country. It's so great that he's enjoying with his family. It's so great that he's enjoying his freedom. Thank you, Father, that it's on my shoulder. I can see him doing that, and it's on my shoulders. Not the president, not the Pope, your shoulders. Not Jesus's shoulders. His shoulders are your shoulders. He says, you're the only body I got. You're my body. And the government's on your shoulders. Your rule and reign is what you choose to do with it, guys. So choose a glorious future for yourself and for your country.
Wow. So we're basically, this is a legislative meeting here, guys. We're sitting in the assembly of saints. So therefore,
Amen.
we're doing governance because we've got big shoulders here,
Yeah.
right? And our united body, the shoulders of our united body is right now going to legislate some stuff, righteousness, peace, and joy. That's what we're legislating.
Inside of you, it says, inside of you.
In our kingdom, right? In our kingdom. The kingdom is within. The kingdom comes without observation.
Yes. And you don't lord it over anybody. You don't say the government's got to do this. You don't lord it over anybody. You just feel the peace and the joy of having all of that within you, and it affects everything around you. If you're lording it over it, you're doing exactly what Alexandra said. You're going to limit it. It could have been way better than what you're trying to do. You're trying to go, the government must make this decision. What if there's something we can't even conceive of? That he goes, oh yeah, you're going to go down that road for another 50 years? Why would you do that? I've got something way beyond what you can conceive of if you would just let me be free.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Well,
right?
A lot of food to chew on for a lot of us. But the thing is, let's, I think you did this one time in a little exercise where we would lift up our eyes, because that's sort of how we remembrance, right? We lift up when we're trying to remember something. So when we do that,
you want me to kind of walk them through it, Debbie?
Yes, please. In this particular subject.
Yeah. Okay. So
also wait, just one other thing, because there's another national situation. I mean, we live on the border with Myanmar, and so a lot of our Karen friends, a lot of our Karens are really being affected as they're being pushed so that they're leaving a lot of their homes. So we want to see them, full rescue and stuff.
Yeah. So whatever is really, and what I would just share this with you is, whatever you desire, wherever you're really feeling moved, that's where you pray, right? That's where and it's not a religious exercise like Deb or like Alexandra's talking about, and Kathleen with their testimonies. It's when I see that, in Myanmar, for instance, it causes me to feel a certain way, and everybody's a little different. So it says, take your eyes off the appearance of things and go within, because you're the true arbitrator of what everything is. So here's how simple it is. When you just start to go, that makes me feel limited. It makes me feel angry. It makes me feel upset at my government, makes me feel upset at tyranny, whatever it is. What's the opposite of that? So when you go within and go, it feels so awesome to be free. It feels so awesome to be unlimited. You will get, if you focus on the emotion and the feeling, you'll actually get the answer to the prayer better than what you would have tried to come up with yourself. So it really is this exercise. And, kind of what Debbie's sharing is like, there's certain ways prayer really is like really close to when you go to sleep, guys. In natural sleep, you go from the conscious to the subconscious. It's this natural thing that you really go from, oh, now I really took my eyes off the conscious world, my awareness of my five senses, and I'm within. And now what's really cool about that is your heart is fertile. Your heart will accept anything you tell it in that state. And it goes to work to bring exactly what it is to pass. So if you go, I am so abundant, I am so joyful, I am so free. As you drift into sleep like that, it goes to work. It says, I give to my beloved while they sleep. Not in a prayer meeting. It gives to their beloved when they rest on that stone, that the natural state of rest is a bend, that 5 foot smooth stones of David, like we were talking about. So entrance into prayer is really just getting to that edge of drowsiness and sleep where you're naturally going to go into subconscious, where you've actually kind of taken your eyes off the physical. Does that help everybody why you do what you do? And there's different ways you can do it. Like Debbie's referring to is if you're looking straight out, like you're looking out a window, and you raise your eyes, you look like you're trying to look through with your eyes shut, you look through you're trying to look up to your eyebrows, for instance. If you touch your eyes, you'll feel them flutter. You guys feel that? If you just try it, that's called REM. It's called rapid eye movement. You know when else you do that? When you're in deep sleep. when you dream, when you're in deep sleep, you have REM. So it's just one little simple way that science has shown you can get out and get into your heart, your subconscious really fast within a few seconds if you just raise your eyelids a little bit. And as soon as you feel them flutter, you can just rest your eyes as normal, because all you're really doing is you're telling your body, hey, you know what? It's time to rest. And now your heart, your subconscious, the real you, Christ in you, whatever you want to call it, the verbiage you're comfortable with, totally agreeableness, and no matter what you plant there, it'll come to pass. So that's just a little trick. So let's just do this. What is the number, when you look at what's going on, and we use some examples like Debbie talked about, whether it's Myanmar, whether it's India, whether it's Thailand, whether it's anything going on in your own family, it's all the same. You can do all of it at once, which we should. If you had that, if God answered every one of your prayers and you woke tomorrow in this blissful world, like Alexander's talking about, what are the number one emotions you would feel? And everybody's different. You can just kind of make a mental note of that. And it'll always be fruit of the Spirit. It'll always be joy, limitlessness, abundance, freedom. It'll always be these things. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through that. And is that okay, Debbie, if I just keep going and we'll just take a couple minutes?
Please.
Okay.
Sure, please do.
All right. So why don't you just take a couple deep breaths right away? And this is just kind of my habit. You can do whatever, but I just like, thank you, Father. Thank you, God. You're so good. Thank you, Father, for your shalom, your peace. Everything's in order in your kingdom. Everything. There's nothing out of order. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father, for your perfect peace. Thank you, Father, for your bliss. Thank you, Father, for your joy. Thank you, Father, for your abundance, for all these people here, for the countries mentioned. Thank you, Father, that just righteousness explodes, peace explodes, joy explodes as we explode. As we experience those things in us, it affects everything and everyone around us. So thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Now, I like to do a little exercise. It kind of gets me, kind of like what Alexander's saying is just seeing that joy cloud, that Christ in you. Just kind of picture it coming down your head, like this beautiful glow, this beautiful feeling of love, of limitlessness, of joy. It's just like this smooth, beautiful cloud, this flow, this oil dripping down your head, your neck, your shoulders. It just keeps going. It feels good. It feels warm. It feels free. And it really feels safe here. You can be yourself here. No judgment in him. Anything you thought was wrong with yourself is just swallowed up in this really quietness, this peace. And it just grows down your shoulders, goes out through your fingertips. You might even feel them tingle a little bit. You might feel your scalp tingle a little bit as his beautiful presence and flow is going right through you, on you, and over you. And it just goes down your chest and your waist and your legs, your knees, and right out of your feet. Just your peace, your flow. Everything you are is just flowing through everybody here. And you can just picture it, guys. You can picture it flowing right out of you and feeling the whole room you're in. It's just his presence. There's nothing outside of perfection. And then just expand it, where it expands the whole house you're in or apartment you're in. And you can just see it expanding out of you, and it fills your whole city you're in. Just this beautiful flow right through you, right out of you, to the whole country you're in. And literally now it's saturating everything, every country, every place on earth, the physical presence. It's coming right out of you and touches everything around you. And it just feels so wonderful that you're an effector of the whole thing. That what you're feeling here actually brings peace to everything and everyone. Thank you, Father, for that beautiful flow coming out of us, where these countries are vibrant, they're whole, they're healthy, their spiritual leaders are healthy, their government leaders are healthy, their government leaders are full of joy. We thank you, Father, that their families are good, their relationships are good, their countries are good. We just thank you for that. Just thank you for your promise that as we see it, as we imagine it just like that, we can rest knowing that that's literally you. That's the spiritual seed that's gone out of us. And we can live with total joy, total expectancy that it is working. Everywhere we go, we're going to start seeing the blade, then the ear, then the full corn. Everywhere we go, this is how we are. This is who we are. And it just feels so good. And so, Father, here's a beautiful spiritual truth. It says, he who waters is himself watered. And what that means, guys, is when you're taking that beautiful flow of the Spirit through you, his love, his abundance, his joy, his limitlessness, when you start to see other countries, your city, other people, even your enemies, where you're praying for them, just hoping they're so blessed, when you're watering, because his nature is love, and love, God so loved the world he gave, it cannot help but water you. As it's going out of you, I promise it's coming back to you in manifold ways, and just keeps expanding and expanding. Amen, amen, amen. And then I go to bed. How's that?
Powerful. Thank you. Thank you.
Does that help you guys?
I'm just thinking of the word lambano.
Amen.
Lambano, if you just want to talk about the receiving, because sometimes that's the
Yeah,
that we kind of miss it. We've put it out, but the thing is
yeah,
the receiving sometimes.
yeah. So what she's referring to is like in John 16, for instance, where it says Jesus is instructing his disciples how to pray. And he says this, he says, up until now, you've not, and it's this word ahiteo, which we probably should cover that too real quick. It's translated ask in English. It says, up until now, you've not asked for anything in my name. Name is nature to the biblical writers, the ancient mystics that wrote the scriptures. It meant your nature. So he's saying, all of you have been praying incorrectly. You're trying to find me outside of there. Let me tell you what my nature is. He says, up until now, you've not asked anything in my nature. Ask, and literally that word ahiteo is this, it's not like, we think it's this thing like, God, can I have this? Can you please heal this nation? Can you please, do whatever? And it's not that, because he says, I've already given you everything that pertains to life and godliness. You've been blessed with the most outrageous blessings you could ever imagine. Every blessing he has, he says, you already have. So how in the world can we ask for something that we already own? And that a word ahiteo literally means to realize I already have it. It's not, oh Lord, can you do this if it's your will? It's like, come to a realization you already have it, because he's already given it to you. Now that word lambano, what Debbie's talking about, is to actively lay hold of. And how do we do that? Two things. What do we want? But more importantly, like Alexandra said, if I had that, what's the emotion that I would feel if I had it? Because it's always the emotion. If you focus on the emotion, I would feel joyful. I'd feel free. I'd feel limitless. I would feel so full of life. what you desired will come, but even better. So if you focus on the emotion of what you would have if your prayer was already real to you, you'll get exactly what you thought you wanted, the house, the job, but it'll be better than what you could conceive, like Alexandra said. Yeah, I could have had that job. It works. But I've got one way better if you're just willing to feel the emotion. So actively hold of is literally, I realize his presence is limitless and I'm the shaper and molder by what I see and what I feel within. You're the conduit, guys. You get to shape it into whatever you want. So shape it into glorious things in your mind.
Amen. It's just like what you pointed out about the word potter and the
Yeah.
and the 3 Hebrew words, and it ends
Yeah.
with resh, which is head.
Yeah. It's yatsar, which is potter, right? And it says, it's the potter literally is divine imagination but it's yod is the power of God. It's the strength of God. So it's literally a picture of a fist. So imagine if God was not spirit, but he was physical like you, and God goes, this is getting done. You think it would get done with he pounds his fist? It's done, right? So he's going, I've given you that, but it's not this angry thing. Like you don't have to, he's just trying to show you, if I had all my power in my fist, think about God. And I said, this is how it is, boys. That's how it is. Because he's given that to you. The power of God is Yod. Zod is this really cool Hebrew letter that says it harvests or pulls you to your desire. It's called the hooked man in Hebrew. It hooks you to whatever you're focused on, and then rests is a man's head. So here's what it says. Here's how simple it is. You see yourself, you see your country, you see everything enjoying bliss and wholeness and abundance. You see yourself freedom, whatever that, whatever your really heart's content is. And it goes, the power of God draws you and pulls you and harvests what you're doing within. You are the potter that shapes the clay. You think the physical world's real? No, it's what you're doing in your heart. What I do within my heart is what actually shapes and molds the physical world. That's imagination in Hebrew.
Amen.
And when he says, you haven't asked in my name, nature is Yud He Vav He. Well, Yud He Vav He is the same thing. Yod, the strength and power of God. He is an open window. I get to choose whatever I want to picture in my mind's eye. Vav connects we're the connector. It's a man. And it says, you are the connector of heaven and earth. What you do with your heart and mind literally shapes and molds. So here's the nature of God, which is Yud He Vav He. It is the power of God in you, Yod. Open window. Choose to see what you desire. And it'll attach you to another open window to what you see. Doesn't that sound like quantum?
Yep.
He goes, when you pray in that nature, lay hold of what has already been given to you, ask and you shall receive, so that you'll be bursting, overflowing, crammed full. You can't even imagine the joy realizing, when I found the treasure of great price, that field, I realized there's nothing else to go buy or do. I can literally enjoy anything at my heart's content and desire right now. Now I'm praying in the nature of God.
That's right. The nature.
Isn't that amazing?
That's what it is. There's a request on the chat, Mike, for you to explain Mark 11:24.
I wonder if I should pull it up real quick.
Yeah, maybe just so people think that we're just being new age. We're just we're the next age.
And I would tell you this, as Paul was the greatest mystic ever. He says, call me a, how does he say it? Go look up how many times Paul uses the word mystery.
Yeah.
Mystery just means, and the greatest mystery of all is what it says, is to find Christ in you, the hope of glory. Right? So here's what it says, Mark 11:23-24. All right, so it says, amen for verily. Amen just means so be it. This is how it's going to be. Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, all right, mountain to a Hebrew was like really a rising up of things. It wasn't, we have this idea that I'm looking at mountains actually in Colorado. So I'm looking at Pikes Peak and some of these beautiful 14,000 foot mountains here. It is not me saying, I'm going to remove that mountain and throw it into the ocean. That's how most faith pastors teach it. Yet I've not seen one do it. Have you?
No?
If I'm honest, I've never heard it, right? So what is it saying? Mountain was like this trouble, this appearance of things that rises up. It looks like everything's against me. This thing is against me, or whatever.
The
And he says,
contrast.
if you say within yourself, be thou removed and be cast out into the sea. Sea is the Hebrew word yam, and it's 2 letters. Yod, strength and power of God again to do work, and mem is the deep waters. So here's what it's saying. I see this challenge. It appears I'm going to take my eyes off the appearance of that thing, and I'm going to see what I do want inside. Just like we were doing, to feel the joy of the solution of that problem is already yours, where you're on the other side of it. You're enjoying it. If somebody's sick, you don't see them in their sickness. You're not trying to pray for their health. You see them calling you, going. In fact, this was just one that just happened this week. I think I shared where this guy said, I found you. My daughter's now intubated. She's young. She's fighting for her life. They've got tubes in her and it doesn't look good. And he said, I called you because I knew this is the real deal. But he did it right. He goes, I see myself calling you or emailing you full of joy that my daughter's up. So 2 days later, she's in a coma, intubated. He goes, the doctors are amazed. And all I wrote back is, here's what I did, guys. I spent like 30 seconds and just visualizing him emailing me at where I pull up my email in the morning and I go, God, you're amazing. How ridiculous that you've made this so simple. All I had to do is imagine him sharing with me, Mike, you won't believe this. It happened exactly like we saw it. So I wrote to him, I said, Dad, I see you emailing me, telling me it happened exactly like I saw it. And I shared that the other night, the service I did. 2 days later, he goes, the doctors are amazing. He goes, so he did a little imagination in his mind where he said, I can't remember it exactly, something like, she's so happy to eat Jello, or something like that. Right. So I just kind of get a chuckle out of that. I'm like, yes, this is perfect, because you can't make this stuff up, right? Like, you're getting excited about her waking up and eating Jello. Yeah, that made him feel good. That's the perfect prayer. So he goes, in 2 days, the tubes are gone. She's sitting up eating. The doctor's just saying, this is a miracle. And then he writes to me, Mike, it happened exactly how I saw it. I spent 30 seconds on that.
So good. So good.
How easy that is.
Because you just throw it to the stone, right? So Mark 11, 23, 24, what it says is, what you've just done, when you felt the emotion of it, is like a spiritual seed cast into the deep waters of the sea, and the power of God in there, in the spirit, is going to bring it to pass. Because then it says, is when you see that, and it's cast into the spirit, it's not the little ocean, it's Yam, it's the power of God within the deep waters, which is you, the inner man, the spirit, right? And then it says, and shall not doubt what he's done, is that his heart's capable of this. It shall not doubt in his heart, meaning I know my heart, that's the field of God, that's the treasure of great price. I know my field's capable. And he shall believe those things he's commanded within shall pass, he shall have it. It's the same story over and over. It's not me trying to make a physical mountain go into the sea. It's seeing my desire. I trust that that's a seed that goes into the spirit. My heart got everything in it to bring that seed to pass, and it'll be. Then he says, therefore, I say unto you, if you have a desire, believe that you had it, and you will. Guys, all you need to do with the desire is just go, that's God trying to burst out of me. Thank you, Father. Yes, I say yes to that desire. And now just look around and expect it to happen. It'll show up. Amen. I do have to run. Debbie, I have to run. So,
Amen. Okay. Thank you so much. I really prayed. You guys were really blessed by this. We like to, if you have any reactions, questions, and testimonies.
I wish I could stick around, but I can't. So you can
just
probably,
send it.
you guys
Just
got this.
send it to us. Just send it to me. Mike, yeah, if you've got to go, thank you. We really bless
God
you.
bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mike.
so much, Alexandra and Mike and guys.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you,
You bet.
Alexandra.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Kathleen. Sandra.
Thank
Again.
you, Mike. Thank you.
So, okay, you guys, so
Thank you, Debbie.
no
Hi
worries.
guys, before you go,
Thank you, Judy.
thanks,
Really-
thanks. Hi guys, before you go, I just want to say that this is recorded. In case, you know, Debbie want to post it in anywhere. Does anybody have any objection? If you have, then just type, no there, okay? If not, then the recording is going to Debbie.
Yeah. Also, just want to say, like, please share if you have any reactions or questions or testimonies. Maybe post it where you are in a forum with me, and then we can share it with Mike. I'm sure it will encourage him. And also, like, yeah, we're gonna be having an expectant attitude now. You know how we say that pregnant mommies are expectant, they are expecting. So this is what it is. We're birthing changes. We're birthing things right now because we've taken governments on our shoulders and we are legislating the righteousness, peace, and joy in our kingdom. So let's just see it and let's continue to meditate on the good things. All right. So share the feel good virus, people. All right.
Thank you, Debbie. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Bless you
Thank you.
guys. Hey, Pastor Sugi.
Thank you, Judy and Debbie.
Oh, thanks, Stella. Thank you, everybody, for
Bye.
making
Thank
it.
you, Judy.
Hi, Deborah.
Thank you.
Deborah, Patton, everybody. Thank you. I see so many faces. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Hi, Glenita.
Nice. We've
Thank you,
got
guys. Bless you all.
from
Yeah.
different forums here. So it's kind of
Let's
awesome.
go
We've
out and create.
united so many different forums here. So that's been really awesome. I mean, Judy, can I just ask if anybody just right away has any questions, just in case anyone has any questions?
Yeah.
Just